Yeah, so I stopped yesterday at UPS in Buffalo and picked up my new headers. And the box was, you know, they came in a very big crate, so couldn't fit it in. And as usual, they agreed to keep the crate. So I took out all the parts. So basically, these are the main collectors, right? See, 2 of these, nicely packed. So this is Stainless Works, you know, American product made in the States, not China. And so then we have these 2 over here, and there's more goodies in there. You see the extenders, all the cables. Comes like this kit. It was pretty expensive. It was like 1,900 bucks, but it came with everything that you need. Whereas before on my Challenger I had a BBK headers, and I basically I bought kind of like a la carte, you know. I bought long tube headers, BBK, meat pipes, you know, and it was cheaper, but I was missing extenders because I needed 4 and I only bought 2. Like, I hope here it's enough. But here you see, when you buy a kit, right, so they give you everything. So I'm not sure what these are for. These are the high flow cats, and then of course they have all these. But I'll tell the shop in Canada where they install it, just, you know, use this for positioning only, and then just do touch, you know, spot welding. But the car will sound awesome, you know. But these are, look at the these are huge, you know, man. And so I just covered them like, but you know, I have nowhere to put them, right? So just put my coat on them so that they don't move. And these I'm just gonna put on the bunk so that they don't create noise. And a friend of mine from Indiana by the name of Ronnie sent me a package, which was actually the second package I picked up at the same UPS. And this crazy guy sent me a bunch of fancy gloves, and there were 2 more in here. You see, like a real leather, super nice thumper. And he sent me a thumper, like to check your tires, but that one is a bit useless because it's too light. And so I'm still at the TA over here. Diesel is $5.49. No thank you. I filled up in at Jim's Truck Plaza in Cheektowaga, Buffalo, New York. It was $5.15. And across the street there's a quick fill. It's always cheaper than here, but now even that one is $5.29. $5.29. So I still got a better deal at Jim's Truck Plaza. So basically I came here yesterday because I know these guys are usually not busy, because I need to do DOT inspection on the Jeep and the booster, the last axle, because they're expiring shortly. And these guys gave me a hard time yesterday, right? I pull in, there was one truck in front of me. I park behind this outside door because, of course, with a trailer I cannot get into that inside door, because this trailer is parked here, and then there's a big yellow block. So, you know, if you have a trailer, you can only get to the outside door. Okay, so I did a U-turn, parked in there. And the guy come out, and I explained to them, I said, no, not the trailer. I said, the 2 units on top of the trailer. And they were scratching their heads. They were not sure. We're not sure what forms to use. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, it's a trailer. I said, technically, each of these is a trailer because it has its own license plate. It has its own VIN number. And because one guy was saying, well, it's only for Landstar, we have special forms for the booster and Jeep. I said, forget that, sir. I said, I need DOT sticker, the same as the one you use on the trailer. And they keep scratching their heads and trying to come up with more excuses not to do it. I don't know what was wrong with them. Maybe it's just the end of the day, you know, because it was about like 5 o'clock. And I said, then the next excuse, they say, how do we check airbags? If we connect the air, we need to check the airbags that they inflate. And your Jeep is tied down to the deck, the airbags will explode. I look at the guy like, is he freaking serious, you know? I said, I can take the chains off, right? What's the problem? Just hook up your air, I'll release the chains, and then once you're done testing, and I see they're like, and then I wanted to check the pressures anyway, because I did the, you know, when I was getting these new tires on the truck, right? I at the Waterloo Bass tire, I also asked him to set the tire pressure to 110, so I hope they did that, like all the tires look good. So I said, yeah, I don't need the truck, but I needed to check the trailer, especially the Jeep and booster, since they were sitting like for a month, right? But I was driving yesterday, right? So it's useless to check your tires after you drive. And so I said, you know, guys, what? Let's do it in the morning, you know, because I also need to check the tires. And maybe, and the guy says, yeah, there'll be the main mechanic who does DOT inspections in the morning, and he'll figure out what forms to use. Okay. I said, what time? The guy says, he'll be here at 6. Man. So I set up my alarm clock for like 5:30. Of course, I woke up at 5. I went around, like the truck stop is dead. I'm like a ghost walking around. Got my coffee, came back, and like 5:45 I pulled in front of the door, and I went inside, and the mechanic shows up, but he's still in his civvies, and he looks at the computer, and he starts arguing with the clerk, with the service writer, the woman who did the order. And I'm standing right there, but he's not talking to me, he's talking to her. How am I supposed to do this? It's units on the trailer. If it's not on the ground, they don't even need DOT inspection. I said, guys, if I put it down, first of all, how am I supposed to put them down? They're like 9,000 pounds for the Jeep, 7,000 pounds for the booster. But I said, if I put them down, you know, in New York, you need a pilot because you're over 100 feet long. And the guy says, he didn't mention the airbags this time. This guy says, I cannot check the lights. I said, why the heck not? Can you not just hook up to the, you know, electric plug? Because I did this before, right? Many times, exactly like this. It was on the trailer, but these guys just. And so this morning guy says, I said, don't you have like a gadget that you can hook up and test, right? Like, and he says, yeah, we do, but it's broke. So that's the freaking problem. So they have something like a portable power with a plug that can hook up to the trailer. And he starts telling me like for half an hour how the guy was doing a road side assistance call, and somehow the whole thing melted. And he tells me like, you know, season 1, episode 1 and 2. And I said, okay, hold on. I don't have that much time. So he tells me his whole life story. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. But he was just explaining. Yeah, see, these are the other gloves, right? And so they're saying that, yeah, because it's on here, they cannot do it. He says, how do we inflate the airbags? I said, I'll take the chains off. What's the big deal? Said, okay, how do we hook up to the power? Our thing is broke. I said, okay, you know what? Let's just check the tires. I said, set all tires to 125. I said, not the truck, but I said the Jeep, the booster, and the trailer. And one thing I noticed, you know, when I was leaving the yard yesterday, I noticed one tire, like I stopped, you know, when I pulled out from my space, I went back to get my car and park where my trailer was, right? And I'm coming back, you know, and I mean, as I'm walking past, I'm just looking to see if there's anything sticks out, something wrong, you know. By the way, this thing started sliding yesterday, son of a bitch, you know. It was like sitting here, and I touched it, it was loose, because you see over here, right, if it starts moving, it goes up, so there's no pressure. And so I did this, I had to do this. See, and it stopped moving. That's smart, right? Because now that thing is pulling forward, and it cannot go this way because the booster, you see, it's down here, right? It's lower than here. But if it starts going this way, it gets loose, and then this whole timber falls down, breaks my hoses. So anyway, I noticed as I was walking, I noticed that one tire on the front axle here, outside tire, the bulge was, you know, bigger than it should be. Like I have 7,000 pounds. No, wait, 7 for the booster, 9 for the Jeep. So I'm like 74,000 pounds. It's like I have a medium-sized load if I was a driver. But so I hit on it, and actually the sound did seem a bit different, you know. And I remembered I saw a small nail in there, but a couple of weeks ago, but it was not leaking. You know, I checked it, the sound was the same, the pressure was the same, but now it looks like the bulge was bigger. And I remembered this, and you know, when I woke up this morning, I was thinking about this. I did not like that tire, you know. And so when the guy says, yeah, we cannot do the DOT inspection, so let's check the tires, and I said, I suspect I have a flat tire. And in the morning, actually, I went in, I grabbed my gauge, and I checked the tire pressure. It was 60 psi, right? And I checked the other one on the other side where the sound was different when you hit it. That one was at 140. And so I told this guy, I said, please, if they're too high, bring them down. I need 125, not more, not less. And so he goes to that tire, and of course these are all original were Yokohama. See, like this is Yokohama, but these are expensive. So these are 275, 70-22.5. But these ones, when I started replacing them, I was going with the Saloon. It's a pretty good tire. It's 16 ply or 18 ply. You know, they're pretty good because they're only $200 US, or I think I paid like 300 Canadian, you know. So I can afford that because you see, yeah, Saloon. Because I have so many tires. And so this guy goes to this tire on the front axle, and I'm sitting in the driver's lounge. I was ordering my Virginia permit because that one can take like 5 days, and I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I forgot. So I'm sitting there at 6 in the morning ordering my Virginia permit, and my phone rings, and they say, the text says that tire with a nail cannot be repaired. So what? It's just a small nail. And he says, well, the tread started cracking, and you can see the, you know, the wires in there, right? So you can see it's not repairable. I said, man. And she says, I only have one tire in that size, and they all keep telling me it's a weird size, 275. So what the heck are you talking about? All heavy haul trailers use this size. I said, all step deck trailers. And he says, no, step deck use 255. And he says, if you are 255, the first three numbers, he says, I have a used tire I could have given you. But you see, all these guys, they just use, okay, these are super singles, forget it. And so she's telling me that the only tire she has in single quantity is a Bridgestone. And I said, how much is that? She says, 600 US. I said, okay, how much is Michelin? 2,000? And she says, probably 700, but she says, I only have this one. And of course I could have, the easiest way to do it would be just to take the tire from here, because it's the same 275. See, like this is Continental. That's what JC Trailer gave me when I was doing, when I was getting this Jeep. And these guys, by the way, I asked them, I said, what about these? I said, I have the connectors. Do you have these brackets with mud flaps that, of course, you need for DOT inspection? They said, yeah, they have them. But they didn't do anything, right? So, anyway, $600. And I asked him to show me the old tire. And basically, here's the new tire. looks of course nice, and he says this tire is like 20 psi, but I don't know, I feel like this is a bit more worn out. That's probably not a good idea, but we'll see. Maybe I should have paired this one with the, like, these are newer. You see, like, these ones are better. You see, this one is already worn out, but so there's a difference in tread in here, which might not be good. So this tire might start wearing out funny, but you know, like these are, again, that's Saloon, that's $200. I don't care. It's too late now, I'm already out of there. I probably should carry a Saloon tire or something just somewhere, but you know, then you have to move it all the time. I feel like all other tires, they're pretty good, right? And actually that tire was in pretty good condition, but the front axle always wears out faster because it's closer to the load, so there's always more weight in here. Yeah, maybe next time I'll stop, maybe I'll ask them to because now when I'm empty it's nothing, but once I get loaded, maybe I should just put this one somewhere whereas another tire has similar tread, like, you know, the wear. Maybe somewhere here. No, for some reason I see these look better. Interesting. And so I asked the guy, so basically, yeah, on that one the nail was here, let's say, right? But the tire started getting damaged in here in the middle, and he says you can see the cord, you know, and the tread was like cracked, you know, and he put the screwdriver in there. He says I cannot fix that. So it was not repairable. And I said, how do you think this happened? It was just a small nail. And he says, well, it was probably leaking a little bit, you know, little by little, and then you had a load, and when you did a sharp turn, because this tire was here, right? So when you do a sharp turn, he says that's what, because the tire was probably underinflated, that's what caused, you know, a lot of stress in the middle of the tire, and it just cracked and separated, you know. I probably had I had a dozer, 50,000 pounds, and then I had another load, 49,000 pounds. But you know, even 50,000 pounds probably, especially if you go like over a rail or something, right, and you're turning. Anyway, tires, I constant headache with heavy haul. You always have to like, you cannot save money on tires, you know. And another thing that happened on the way to US is and basically I'm just killing time, so don't mind me, you know. If you want to go and, you know, do something useful, boil an egg, just pause the video. But I'm just waiting for the restaurant to open to go get breakfast, because it's 7:42 now. The restaurant opens at 8. I want to go and get some omelette or something, or maybe celebrate my new Bridgestone overpriced tire with some pancakes. I don't know. So another thing that happened is that I've been trying to sell that Thule Accordion for a month, right? Even though I don't have my Italian one yet, but the Italian one is coming. But these things take time, right? It's a super specific item, right? It's not like selling a gold brick, right? And usually, like my last one, the green one, I sold it to a Russian. I advertised on Kijiji, kind of like our Canadian version of Craigslist. And a guy with an unusual Russian name, Ivan, texted me. I'm serious, like his name was Ivan. And he said he wanted his son to learn how to play a real Russian accordion. And he says the reason he bought that one is because it's hard to find, you know, in US and Canada, it's hard to find accordion like that, because all these here, yeah, there's a bunch of accordions, right? You can buy electric accordion, anything, but they don't have that sound, you know, like the Russian sound is different because they use different setup for reed blocks and stuff like that. And so he was looking specifically for the Russian sound, and so he was super happy with it. Green accordion, perfect for a beginner. And then I got this one and waited 6 months, right? Paid $2,800 US, so 3,500 Canadian dollars. And I decided I wanted an Italian one, but I cannot afford 2 accordions, and so I put that one on Kijiji in Canada, and then I put also an ad on Facebook Marketplace. And I did a video on my second channel about this, saying that the accordion is for sale. And actually, that's what worked. You know, it's funny, right? The marketplace, it's all, I think I had a couple of comments there, but a couple of messages, but nothing happened, right? And then Kijiji, one guy, nothing. No, Kijiji, yeah, online, nothing. But YouTube, when I did a video saying I'm selling it, a couple of guys were interested, started asking me questions. What's the key of the accordion? You know, I said Re or D, and so we agreed on meeting. And so I gave it to that technician in Burlington just to clean up everything, you know, because I had the keys painted, and then I put some silicone in there in the, you know, inside, right, when I was trying to change the gasket. And so he cleaned up everything, kind of like did an, you know, pre-sale conditioning, and the accordion sounds pretty good. So on the way to the meet, I told the buyer, I said, let's meet at 10 o'clock. And I told the technician, I said, I'll be at your place at 9:30. And there was a Starbucks like a kilometer, half a mile away from my technician's place in Burlington, which is just west of Toronto. And I looked up on Google Maps. It seemed like a big place, except that Starbucks was not a standalone building like I hoped it would be, you know, with some sitting area inside so we can sit down and the guy can test the accordion. But it was inside the big grocery store. In Canada we have this chain. It's called Metro, kind of like subway, right? In Russian, metro means subway. So Metro. And I go inside, but I found that there's lots of space for the truck because they have a truck route behind the building. I went in there, turned around, parked the truck. I'm not in anybody's way, you know, beautiful, huge space, a big shopping center. And I went inside, I texted the buyer. He says, yeah, I'm on my way, a bit of a traffic, I'm getting late. And then he says, I'm here. I said, where are you? And he says, oh, it's probably different Starbucks. So I sent him my location. You know how you can do like a map on in a text message, like a piece of map with your location. I said, this is the address. I typed the address. So eventually the guy comes, checks the accordion, and I show him the bill of sale, because everything is in Russian, but he seems to understand Russian. And young guy, and he's from former Soviet Union, like one of the republics there in the east, you know, near China, Kazakhstan. And I knew that he would be, the buyer would be somebody from that background, because Americans, Canadians, you know, why would they buy a Russian accordion, right? And so the guy plays a couple of tunes, I show him all the paperwork, and he sees my email address, and right away he starts doing something on his phone. Then my phone beeps and it says, you received $1,000, because I have an automatic deposit. You know, in Canada we have something called Interact Transfer. Very handy thing. You can send money to anybody inside Canada for like $1. The fee is $1, and it's pretty much instantaneous. And it's called Interact e-money transfer, or e-transfer. So all I need to know is the person's name and his email address. And then he says, oh, I cannot send you more money. is there a Royal Bank somewhere here, RBC? And I saw one on the way there, so I told him where it is. So he went over there, grabbed more money, and we agreed on a fair price. I gave him 40 bucks back. When he asked me for a discount, I gave him 40 bucks change. So all in all, pretty happy with the transaction. The guy was nice. And I asked my technician, I said, any news about my Dino Buffetti? And he says, no. And he says they don't like it when you call them or you bother them before. They consider that as you know, not offense, but what's the word? Basically, they don't like it. He says that you don't mess with Italian accordion makers. He says 1 week before they ship, he says they will call me. He says they only give you 1 week notice, and I still owe him a bunch of money because I only gave him what, like 20% deposit. So anyway, so that's what's happening. So the tire situation is fixed. So now I have to decide what to do with DOT stickers, because there's a couple of scales there on the way out from Virginia. So the Virginia permit is ordered, and so my court is tomorrow in Essex, Maryland, which is just right next to the port of Dundalk. Right, and I think today I'll just drive down to I don't want to pay, you know, because if I go to TA in Baltimore, I'll have to pay. Actually, I will have to pay anyway, even if I'm there, let's say 10 o'clock, and then I take a taxi to the court. They still they only give you like 2 hours free of parking, but at least, you know, I'll pay them for half a day. Whereas if I go right now all the way down there, it'll be more expensive. So I think today I'll just go grab some breakfast, and from here it's 3 hours to the pilot in Duncannon. So it's about 200 miles, and then from there, from Duncannon, it's only 100 miles. Right, and so tomorrow, Friday, my court is only at 1 or 1:30. Yeah, 1:30 p.m. So I'll probably leave like, I don't know, 5-6 o'clock in the morning to avoid traffic and drive down there. And or maybe I'll change the tire, maybe. I don't know. But they all look, it's funny, right? That tire on the left side for some reason is more worn out. It's probably because the other one was flat, you know, and I did not notice it. Well, what do? You cannot solve all the world's problems, so let's cross one bridge at a time. But for now, my biggest concern is the DOT inspections, and I hope there's no problems with the permit, because, you know, I ask for a lot of weight, and Virginia, you know, might start coming up with excuses, you know, oh, you cannot go on this road, you have to go on this road. And this thing is going to be 12 feet wide, 12 feet tall, so my overall height will be probably like 1310. But they took off everything, whatever they can took off. They took off the boom, the stick, the counterweights. It's just basically the base machine with nothing on it, right? So it should be an interesting load, boys and girls. Okay, 7:53, so 7 minutes to the breakfast time. I think I'll stop here, and we'll continue maybe tomorrow after the court. Hopefully I'll still be a free man. Oh, and one funny thing is, I emailed the lawyer. I never met him, right? We only talk on the phone and exchange emails. So I said, how are we doing this? I said, so the hearing is at 1:30. said our meeting at some like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we do some intensive strategy, you know, training. And and he emails me and he says, no, he says, it's not like that. It's not like what you see in the movies and on TV. He says, we're gonna meet at 1 o'clock at the courthouse, and he says that'll give us enough time. He says it's not one of those cases where you can, you know, he says it's just about facts. You were overweight, so now we're just trying to reduce the fine, right? So basically, yeah, he says no strategy training meetings, because I was hoping we'd be somewhere, you know, 20 people in the room, we all have coffee, you know, we have some food coming in, there's some attractive legal secretaries taking, you know, notes, right? And this guy, okay, if I ask you this, what do you say? You know, it turns out no, it's just it's not like one of those you know, court hearing of the century. It's going to be just a basic traffic violation hearing. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a judge, right? Like a desk with a judge and probably a couple of cops, you know, just to make sure you don't jump the judge, you know, and try to embrace him after he clears you of all charges. Stand back, sir. Stand back. No embracing of the judge. All right, I'll show you guys a little bit of driving. So I just spent a few minutes fixing my headset. For some reason, I just got this, what, like a month ago, this Blue Parrot. Had the previous one probably for like 5 years. And promptly this thing fell off. You know, this thing that goes on your ear, and then you just have a very harsh feeling plastic part. It was really hurting my ear, so I just went and I got this $3.99 super glue by Scotch, and I used that and held it together for probably like a minute. I think it should be okay. And now I'm just charging it. It uses a regular USB-C on one side and USB on the other. Very, very convenient. So on duty, back on duty, working super hard. Well, not working yet, but mostly spending money on the truck and trailer. Imagine, right? 2 new tires, it's over 2,000 Canadian, and now 2 super singles were over 2,000. Here, 1 tire was 600 plus fees. So basically, I paid over there, I paid 900 US, which is almost like 13, probably 1,300 Canadian. Crazy. But what do you do? You gotta spend money to make money, right? Yeah, my previous log, it was asking me, that gives you like an exclamation mark if something is wrong. And even if you sign it at the end of the day, then on the next morning, for some reason, it still shows you the exclamation mark. You have to go in and sign it. I don't know what the deal with that is. And like I said, I'll just go to Pilot, done, Canon. Because I like to have that gas station. Like the Pilot itself, there's not much there, but usually there's lots of parking. Especially, you know, I'm gonna be there before lunch. Right, so you see from here, it's 312 kilometers. So about 200 miles. So it's pretty far. And I know all these distances because that's how I usually come back, you know, from the port, right? Those are my stops. Like first I stop at Duncannon, and then I stop here. Oh, there was a couple of interesting loads here overnight. Like one guy had a Quebec plates, or Quebec, and he had an oversized load, and he had a pilot, and in the back, and he had a Jeep. He had a Jeep, and he had a quad trailer. Oh, I'm already cold. Hold on. Let me bring the temperature at least to 100 F. And so he had a small Jeep and a quad, but the quad was a peculiar Quebec style, because over there, I heard this before, you know, they give you more weight if your rear axle, you know, let's say you have like this, right? And so here it's 60 inches, but here between 3 and 1, it's the same fixed axle. It's not a booster or anything, but here they use 72 inches. And for some reason that's more popular in Quebec. And I looked at it because I was just throwing out some garbage, and there was a garbage can right behind that guy trailer, and I noticed that his actual flip axle, like this was a flip axle, it was the same as mine. It was just, you know, 60-inch spread. But what they do is they add like a block between the frame, you know, like a little extension, like, which is pretty neat. So the flip axle, instead of hooking up to this previous axle, there's a metal piece in there, you know, probably, I'm guessing 12 inches long, right? And so it converts typical 60 spacing into 72. I never saw that before, you know. I didn't see the brand name, didn't see the name of the trailer. Oh, we're already at 100. And one more thing I wanted to show you guys, give you some food for thought, and why I'm not too happy with my Jeep is the Jeep looks like this, right? And so the most important 3 things on the Jeep are the kingpin, I mean for our purposes, the 5th wheel, and the center between the axles. And so the thing is that the most important 2 numbers are this: from the kingpin of the Jeep to the 5th wheel of the Jeep. So let's call it A, and we call this B, because all the weight, right, when you have your lowboy attached, all the weight sits on this kingpin of the trailer, right? And that kingpin pushes down on the 5th wheel of the Jeep, right? And so let's say you have 100,000 pounds here, which of course is never going to happen, but just in case, you know. And then here, this acts as 2 levers, right? So you see, like this. So you can see even in this drawing that this space is longer than this. So what do you think will happen when you put 100K in here? How will the weight spread between this and this? It will depend on the difference in distance, right? And so this is exactly what's the problem is with my Jeep. So this space is closer, like from the 5th wheel to the center of the wheels, it's closer than here. And so if I have 100K here, like somewhere 60K will go on the Jeep, but only 40K will go on this kingpin, which attaches to the 5th wheel on the truck, right? And that's why it's super important to have these distances more closely aligned, like more similar. And so this guy's Jeep, I noticed right away, his spacing was like this. So he had a long body of the Jeep. Over here it's long, but here it's short, you know. And basically when I remember, I had a problem with my Jeep, right? So after I got it from JC, I discovered they didn't build me what was on the drawings. And so I went back to them and they agreed to redo it. And what they did is they extended the body of the Jeep, which is fine, because there was a big gap between the end of the Jeep and the trailer. So I needed that body to be extended so the wheels of the Jeep are closer to the trailer. So they did that, but then I didn't realize it that when they extended the neck, you know, it made things pretty much the same, because they extended the body and then by the same pretty much amount they extended the neck, you know. So I should have told them to keep the neck the same, because of course the deal with this long neck Jeep, the idea was so that I can haul heavy loads and use my lift axle, and that's why the neck is so long, so that I can move the fifth wheel pretty much on top of my, or even forward of my lift axle, right? And that of course is a stupid thing to do, because as people that do heavy haul for a living, they all know that lift axles are useless. As long as you hook up, as soon as you hook up the Jeep, the lift axle is useless. It just takes weight, because again, you can never put a lot of weight over there on the truck. Most weight will go on the Jeep anyway. And so if you put down your lift axle, you're actually making things worse, because now your steer axle is too light, right? That's all you accomplish, is that you make it, you make a steer axle
Turn right onto the ramp to I-390 South.
dangerously light.
Onto the ramp to I-390 South.
And so you don't actually need such a long neck, you know. And so I've been thinking, if I keep this Jeep till it's paid off, you know, for a few more years,
In 300 meters, merge onto I-390 South.
I might just go to a welding shop and make the front shorter. Because right now, I'll give you a couple of examples from real life, where I had a heavy load, and then I go through the scale, and let's say I have 44,000 pounds on the Jeep.
Continue for 75 kilometers.
I would have somewhere close to like 37, 38 on the truck, you know. So the truck is always lighter, which is not good, because it's, then you can either overload the Jeep, or because all the weight now is in the back, you can overload the trailer, right? Because you cannot just transfer the weight forward. So very important is those two distances between the kingpin and fifth wheel and center of the axles on the Jeep. So that was the lesson for the day. And now we're just accelerating up this huge hill. That's, you know, when you're coming out of this truck stop loaded in any direction, going that way to Canada or this way south, there's a huge hill, I don't know, probably like 10 miles long, and with a load it takes forever, you know, to pick up speed. Well, at least the weather's nice. It shows plus 16 Celsius, which is probably somewhere near 70 or 68 or something like that, because plus 10 is 50, and then 6 Yeah, it's probably 66, 66, 68, somewhere there. Yeah, here we go. You see this long hill. Now we're gonna see some flashing lights from trucks in front of me. By the way, the breakfast was pretty good. I opted for a vegetarian omelette with no cheese and dry rye toast and coffee. And then she gave me a free coffee to go. Because the truck doesn't want to drive. What's my restriction? The restriction is not too bad on the fuel filter. Oh, and yesterday we had a very weird weather. We had in Ontario we had hail and snow, and then freezing rain started, and it was just below freezing, and then it went above freezing. It was weird. Right when I was busy, you know, selling that accordion over there. The slowest truck on this hill, I wonder. Now, all these guys are empty or something? What's going on? Like I said, I don't care. I don't care. Now it's just a vacation. It's a fun vacation with a destination being a court hearing. But I got lucky that I found this load, you know, because I wasn't sure what to do. Can I maybe do a load on the way to US? But then, you know, I realized I was getting too close to the hearing date, April 1st, and you can always have some kind of issues, right, with border crossing, with permits, so I didn't want to take the chance and be late. And that's why we're driving empty, but this load pays pretty good. And yeah, I don't think I should wait till I'm loaded. These guys at the TA they don't have the proper equipment. So I'm pretty sure another shop will be able to do it on the trailer. Because I don't want to go through a scale, you know, with no stickers on the Jeep, right? And just with the old ones, I need to get it inspected. And I can think of a couple, you know, and especially since from Baltimore, Maryland, where I will be tomorrow, to Chesapeake, Virginia, it's only 4 hours of driving, 240 miles. And so I don't need to leave Friday, I don't need to leave Saturday. I can just drive 4 hours on Sunday. And so either maybe today or maybe tomorrow morning or Saturday, I'll try to find a truck stop that can do a DOT inspection with these things on the trailer. And there's a TA in Baltimore. They have a shop, but I know those guys are crazy busy. And then there's a bunch of truck stops on the way to Virginia. What do we have there? Carlisle, but I don't want to go to Carlisle. Well, I know there's another TA just north of Harrisburg on 81. Yeah, somewhere there in that area. I'll figure it out. So that's the last obstacle. So the tires are good. The truck tires are good. New steer tires, right? We don't need the oil change. We don't need anything else besides the DOT stickers. New DOT stickers on the Jeep and Booster. This is the second of these big blades I see here, and this is New York, right? So they don't like it here when you're very long, but because Michigan now is closed, I bet before they would come in through a different route, but now they're coming through New York, and I just had one blade was being moved like half an hour back. It had 2 civilian pilots and 2 police pilots, and that's what they're doing here, you know, because he's probably, I don't know, 150 feet long. Very expensive over here to move a load like this, which reminds me, so I'll be coming through here with an excavator, and because I have the Jeep and Booster, I'll be 107 feet long, which means I will need 2 pilots.
In 600 meters, take exit 44AB for US 50 toward Williamsport.
And in Maryland, I will definitely be over 150,000, but like I mentioned, I ordered the permit for Virginia without seeing the load based on the information.
Take exit 44AB, then keep left to continue on exit 44A.
Based on the information provided by my customer, and like the weight is crazy.
Continue on exit 44A.
It can be anywhere from 95,000 pounds to 105,000 pounds. And nobody's sure.
For 123 kilometers.
Yeah, but the guy sent me a booklet for this excavator. It's like a long reach demolition excavator, but no counterweights, no boom, no stick, no bucket. And so I ordered the permit for Virginia as if it weighs 112,000 pounds, because I know what I want to have. You know, let's say I want to get 20,000 on the steer, 40,000 on the drives, and 44 on the Jeep. Like I mentioned, Jeep always gets more weight. And then I want to get I want to get 60 on the trailer and 20 on the booster. Yeah, that tiny baby pickup truck wanted to pass me, but we handled that problem really well. And so yeah, I ordered that permit for lots of weight because I don't want to sit there for a week. And plus, you know, where do you scale it? Like, where do you confirm the weight? So I still need the permit, you know, technically, even to go from the shipper to the scale, if there's a scale somewhere there. There is a couple of truck stops, but I don't know how big they are, right? If I can scale with this quite often I have a problem, you know, trying to scale with a Jeep and booster. Because, you know, you try to do this split way, as they call it. For some reason, they never know how to do it. Basically, when they do two measurements, but then the computer combines it into one ticket, and it shows you, instead of a regular 3-axle groups, right? Like normal, let's say drive and trailer, it shows you steer, drives, trailer. If I do a split way, it would show, let's say, 5-axle groups, you know? But if you make a mistake, then the entire thing is off. Back up a little bit. I'm sorry, lady, I cannot back. You know, with a booster, with a Jeep, but they have no freaking idea what, you know, what it takes. Okay, we'll have to do it again. All right, so you do another circle. I think once I did it like 2 times, they couldn't figure it out. So now quite often I'll just say I don't do split way, I do a regular way, and I make sure, let's say, only 3 axles, you know, let's say the truck and the Jeep are on the plates, and then I just pay $1 extra, or what is it, $1.50 for a re-weigh, and then the second time, you know, I put my other axles on the plates. But a couple of times that didn't work too well either, because I think I put the trailer axles in the back, and so the front platform was empty. And I asked her, okay, you have my weight? You have my weight? She says, no, the scale is acting up because there's no weight on the front. Like, what? So I had to move the truck, and I think even then they had a problem. So anyway, it's not an easy thing to do, to scale when you are, you know, this long. Not right now. Right now I'm just a regular truck, but once I put the Jeep down and I hook up the long neck and the booster, which the booster probably will take again like 2 hours to hook up, but like here I don't want to drive with the booster. You know, usually I don't bother, doesn't bother me, but in New York you need a pilot if you're that long. You know, I don't want to get into some unpleasant encounters with local cops in here. And plus, you know, it's hard to park in Maryland. That truck stop is not that big. With a booster, it's not good. And so yeah, so the plan is to find a scale in Virginia so that I can actually check my real weight before ordering the Maryland permit. Because Maryland, it's very expensive when you're heavy, but I know for a fact I'll be over 150,000, and that, boys and girls, means that I will need 2 pilots, 1 civilian, 1 police. So that permit will be definitely somewhere close to like $1,000, because I'm gonna enter Maryland on 495 near Washington DC, right, and then I exit at the PA line. So I know normally from the port, Dundalk port to PA line, it's with the police pilot, it's about, police civilian, I think it's about $700, if not more. But here there's more distance, and that's why they want to do it, you know. And then that's why we had to change the rate, because I realized how many expenses there will be here. Like, I wish I could have done it on just with a quad, you know, quad trailer on 8 axles. Like, if this excavator was sitting in Maryland or PA or somewhere in New York, I wouldn't have to bring all this. the Jeep, the booster, you know, all the works, because I can get 92,000 pounds on the quad, on the trailer. Unfortunately, Virginia does not work like that. They wanted to have a booster if you want to have, you know, 80,000 pounds, or 2 plus 2, right? Tandem and tandem, if you want to have 88,000 pounds. But again, I'm not sure they would give 88, like they're not that liberal with weights. But the permit is ordered. So far I didn't hear anything from my permit broker, but actually now it's only, over there it's only 10 till 9, because my broker is in Iowa, and so they are on Central Time. And it's raining again, which is good, I guess, because it can clean up my trailer a little bit and the truck. I hope it doesn't rain in Duncannon, because I wanted to go for a walk towards the river, maybe grab my camera, see if I can take some amazing pictures. Hello, Pennsylvania. Bye-bye, New York State. Hi.
Welcome to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I like that truck stop. Lawrenceville, PA. Exit 196. What's the diesel price today? I think it was $5.33. And that's 1/3 of the way from Dansville to Duncannon. So I have slightly over 2 more hours to get to Duncannon.